What's up, everybody? I'm Marquise. We're finishing a game we started 2 weeks ago, but I was attacked by robots and I could not finish it. So here we are. All right. So before we begin again, we'll have everyone reintroduce their character names, starting with you, Jeff. So, Jeff, who is your character? Who are you playing in this?
I am playing Milo, also known as Blink. He is kind of the sharpshooter, the studier, the scope out. He's ex-military from Duskwall. Grew up in a poor family. Was like an imperial sniper for a while before taking to the crime world.
Like it. All right. Lloyd, who are you playing?
I'm playing Caro or Crow, who is from Tycheros. He's a strange foreigner who can talk to ghosts and who is a real bad opium addict.
Dope. Love it. Chris, who are you playing?
Luca Colburn, who is a former Bluecoat, and he gets called Sergeant by a lot of people, even though he hates it.
Perfect. Short, sweet. So let's go ahead and start then. Where we last left off, we are with you, Blink. You're nestled in your own kind of nest that's overlooking the actual Thunder Gods Bordello itself. The Thunder Gods Bordello is one of the many prostitute houses owned by the Weeping Sisters, especially in this specific part of the city. It's very well known. It's very widely respected, and it's a place that the girls always feel safest in, because that's the reputation of the Weeping Sisters. They protect the actual women themselves and other commoners as well in the city of Duskfall, all while trying to pretending to be pseudo-religious to create the identity of an almost charity-like organization, right? They're basically a bunch of Robin Hoods. So the first thing we see is the sign of the Thunder Gods Bordello itself, specifically one small tube in it. We see gas go flying through that tube, and then we see electricity follow it. And there's a reaction like that, and then light comes out, a pale blue light, and the camera pulls away. And what we see on top, on the very front end of the Thunder Gods Bordello, is the actual sign they have themselves and neon lights. It is a outline of a man that looks like some kind of thunderous hero, I guess you would say. There are lightning bolts shooting around him. He is muscular, and he has a hammer in one hand. And underneath him, lounging in a pose, an erotic pose at that, is a naked woman, also illuminated by this neon light. The camera moves over to where you are, Blink. Where exactly are you situated?
So while he's by no means trying to get too close, he's still trying to blend in, make himself not apparent. So he's kind of taken to a street corner. He's got a cigarette of some sort with unknown material in it. He's not even quite sure in his mouth, and he kind of is looking around, taking a hit from it, just as if just kind of scanning, waiting for somebody. But in reality, he's kind of carefully checking out the building, what the entrance is like, where prominent windows are, perhaps side or back entrances, that sort of thing.
As you're looking around, you're noticing a few things in particular before I have you make your action roll. The first thing you notice is that the security is actually unusually heavy for a outpost space like this. You see 4 guards on the outside, right? These men wearing these shoddy rags and everything. Something hidden underneath their coats, but you can catch a glint of metal here and there. And then you see in the windows, you see people occasionally looking out, moving the curtains and scanning the street before moving the curtains back. You realize, Blink, that because you guys intimidated that prostitute earlier that night, right, that they have taken that threat seriously and they're on the lookout for any kind of shenanigans, any kind of bullshit going on tonight, right? So when you go to make your action roll, you can tell me what skill you're using. I'm going to say it's going to be risky because they're watching the surrounding area, but you'll be able to get a great effect if you pull this off.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'm looking to use survey here, just trying to get a lay of the land. He's again had military training, so he knows kind of how to stake out potential areas and what to watch for.
All right, so go ahead and make your dice roll.
Alrighty, and I am going to go ahead and push myself here for an extra die. And that is a 5.
5. All right, so that means you are going to be able to succeed at this. So what exactly are you looking for?
Particularly, other entrances, including things like windows, perhaps kind of like the places with the least traffic that'll still get people inside. So if they either need to get in or out quickly, he'll know certain options that they might have.
All right. As you're looking at the side exits and everything, or you're looking for a side exit, you find on the left-hand side of the bordello is an alleyway, and you kind of like nondescript walk down that alleyway, and you see behind the bordello, kind of where all the dumpsters and everything are, is another door that obviously they would use to be taking out the trash, right? However, in going down this alleyway, you look over your shoulder, blink, and you see one of the guards has looked around the corner following you, right? And he hasn't completely followed you, but he's watching you with curiosity and more than a little bit of apprehension. Do you want to do anything, or do you just want to leave the scene, or?
Yeah, Blink is just going to keep walking, just act as if he hasn't noticed, but still keep his ears open. And he's going to, like, as he walks by one of the dumpsters, like reach into his jacket and just throw something into it, as if he was just under the guise of just trying to get rid of some trash.
All right, perfect. I like that. So you know these alleyways are frequented, right? It's not odd to have someone walk down the alleyway because, again, this is a place that has women of the nights, and so you always have this kind of leaving and going through secret passages just in case. So you exit and you guys reconvene, okay, later this same evening. You tell me, Crow, where is it that you guys meet to talk about what you've learned in preparation for this?
Crow is not feeling well after his conversation with the ghost, and so they have like met up in their dirty old warehouse. Crow has like wrapped himself in a blanket and put several thick socks onto his feet, which are still cold despite the hours that have gone by.
All right. So Crow, Sergeant, and Blink, the three of you are together now. What are you guys discussing? Are you guys talking about what the actual heist or hit is going to be? Do you have any idea of what you're doing? Or are you guys just gonna fly in, guns a-blazing like you usually do? Or do you guys have any worries between each other?
They have powerful witches.
Well, if going in by force isn't the best method, it seems we could buy our way in. They're already on the lookout for us, which Blink said. We could make it look like we're trying to make amends.
Yeah, that's fair. Might be complicated to get through if they're on the lookout, but if we said it the right way, it might be convincing. As for the witches, if I can get a clean shot, I can hit them far away, wherever. Just need to know who and where and when.
Crow takes out his battered old leather wallet and he like opens it and he mutters something and there's like this brief impression of a moth flying out of it and he says, "Do we really have the kind of cash to splash to get in there?"
If we wanted to take a more roundabout way, there's a back entrance in an alley. It seems like they were still keeping eyes. If somebody walked by, then they're going to check it out. But with the right precautions, you might be able to sneak by or at least get in before it can get too messy.
Luca will walk over to kind of this painting of a Leviathan ship that's like halfway up this wave that's got this beast underneath it that's more of like an ink spot as far as what we can see. And he moves the painting down and there's a wall safe. He spins it open. And you see him start counting the cash behind the safe. This is everything that the gang currently has. Probably have enough to get in, but we don't have anything after that.
It would be humiliating to enter and then not be able to spend.
No, I mean, we'll be able to spend. It's just whatever we use this coin for, there's a chance that we may not get it back, especially if we don't take the turf. But if we take it, I'm sure they've got plenty of coin inside their safe.
Then we'll have to take it.
And the moment you say that, Crow, you switch scenes. All right. The three of you are before the Thunder God's Bordello. You're walking in beside some other pedestrians. A few people talk to the guards, the bouncers essentially, and they're let in. Right. Then you guys approach next. All right. Since you guys decided you wanted to pay your way in, who would be leading the way into the Bordello? Would it be the sergeant, or Blink, or Crow?
I think Luca would. Luca's actually fairly well dressed usually, so.
All right. So, Sergeant, you approach the door. Two of the four guards step up, and then one more steps up even further than those two. This man has a heavily bearded jaw. He has a hat on, which you can see no hair underneath. His skin is dark. It's almost midnight in color. His eyes are yellowish instead of white, and the irises themselves are normally dark. And he looks down to you. He towers over you by a solid foot. And this man clearly must have says, "All right. And you are?"
Luca kind of looks up at him, and it goes from this kind of like put off, "Why are you talking to me?" face, and he shifts and he starts looking a little bit more friendly. Looking for a good night. I'm sure that this establishment can help my friends and I out.
I ain't seen you here before. You new. So tell me, Mr. New, what part of the city you come from with your fancy coat?
I'm sorry. I thought I was paying for a level of discretion here.
He listens to what you're saying, and then he nods, right? Like you said something really profound. And he steps to the side and he says, "True. The mistress did say that. All right, open the doors." And the other two behind him then open the double set doors and they beckon for you guys to enter. Do you guys do anything when you enter? You just walk straight in. All right, I think that was a walk straight in then.
Yeah,
So
I think so.
you guys enter the Thunder God's Bordello. What you see, this place is lavish. All the walls are covered in wallpaper, and in the wallpaper you can see they use actual gold to make a lot of the designs. You have basically these golden lightning bolts striking men who are standing over these golden outlined women. You have clouds roiling with golden thunder. It's the whole shebang. It covers everything in here, right? You see stairs leading upwards, and these stairs are spinning spiral staircases. Beautiful alabaster, all kind. Basically, the whole works. You have the tables. You have the tables covered in flowers and food and fruits. You have women lounging here and there in diaphana silks and whatnot. Many of them are beautiful. Many of them are ugly. Many of them are fat, skinny. Basically, do you want some type of girl? You can find it here. But you can also tell that the ones that are truly beautiful, that beauty is artificial. They're painted, right? Because again, you're in a low class part of the town, essentially. Um, the moment you enter, you see one single word escapes me. Podium. There you go. You see one podium of dark red wood, and behind that podium is a gentleman, right? Again, dark skin, wearing a full suit and tie. He has a book on the podium and a quill as well. And he looks up to you three and he says, "Ah, yes, new customers. Come this way, please. Tell me, let's see here. Well, weapons, if you have them, please take them off and give them back to the door guards, if you would, before we continue business."
It's all right. I'll tell him. Kara will step forward and he will lean up to this man and he will say, "I was rather hoping to. Well, my tastes are a little less, somewhat unusual."
Yes, I see. We get many unusual types around here. However, we do have our own assortment of bladed or blunt objects per your perusal. You can pick which ones you would like to use, but we do request you use those and not your own.
Very well.
All right. Well, then please, once you're done giving your weapons to the guards, come back and we will speak to what specific requests you have for your evening, gentlemen.
Luca fishes out the gut knife that he carries inside his boot and goes over to the guard, hands it to him. That would be my fine hand weapon.
All right. As you guys hand them your weapons, assuming you all do, you see there's a room to the side, right, through a door. The guard goes in there and he closes the door. And then when he comes back out, he closes it again. He locks it, right?
Hey, Marquise, real quick, I do
ahead.
have one other weapon on me that he may not notice.
Mhm.
For my scary weapon or tool, I chose to have a sharpened belt buckle.
You
Will
can
he
keep that
notice
one
that?
on you. He will
Okay,
not
cool.
notice that. Is there anything else you guys have that he would not notice? All right, go ahead, Kara.
Yeah, I don't carry many weapons, I guess. I'm gonna have this mask and like a weird focus type thing, but I don't think they would read as weapons.
Mm-hmm. Now, sir, you may wear your mask, of course. That is your discretion. However, we do require from each and every one of you your full names, if you would.
Is it not a place of discretion?
Ah, yes, we are a place of discretion. And should anyone ever tell you that they know that you've come through here and that you have specifically used our services, we will pay you handsomely in return and take care of the third party intervening between our mutual business decisions.
It sits ill with me.
Well, my good gentleman, you are free to go to another Bordello if you would like to partake in their services. However, it protects our women, our merchandise, if we have your entire name, sir.
I would like to study him.
All right.
Ultimately, I'd like to find out if I slip him the coin that we have, if he'll just look the other way.
All right. So I'm gonna say it's controlled standard effect.
Okay. Anybody want to help?
Certainly. Yep. I mean, Kara's worried about a different thing, and that's like the power of giving his name away. So he's like studying this guy also to see if he is magically inclined, I guess, you know. So they're both staring him out of it.
Mm-hmm. So that is a 6.
A 6. All right. So it's perfect.
Mhm.
As you're kind of like listening to him talk and everything, you realize that he is the type of person who will likely take some kind of compensation for scribbling down a fake name into the book.
Mm-hmm. And Luca slides the coin over on top of the book, and he just rattles off 3 names of like criminals that he arrested years ago.
Perfect. I like it. He writes down the names very quickly. One of them, he kind of perks an eyebrow out and he smiles. And you said you slid him the coin, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. He kind of puts the coin away underneath the podium where you can't see where exactly it goes. And then he begins slipping through the book and he stops and he says, "All right, then, gentlemen, let us see what we can provide you with tonight. Tell me, what kind of experience are you looking for?"
Do you want us to go ahead and do the engagement roll, by the way?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that if you guys want to knock that out
I
now.
was gonna say we've already done the planning. It's
Mhm.
it's deception, and we're going in by buying our way in, really.
All right. Let's go ahead and knock that out.
What's
You-
it do?
So it's a fortune roll,
Yeah. So,
which means anybody can roll it.
yeah, I did a fortune roll earlier, but it was something separate. I didn't tell you guys. So, yeah.
For a fortune roll, we start with 1 die for luck,
Mhm.
and then we modify it based upon answering some
Every
questions.
advantage. Yep. So basically, let me find the questions real quick here.
It's page 128.
120. Thank you. Oh, what a. All right. So is operation particularly bold or daring? I'm going to say yes. What do you guys feel? Since you're going in with force at some point.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, and it's magic, so okay. Does a plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? You guys did pay your way in, so I'll give you 1 dice for that.
Okay.
Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight? They already have as a last session, so it's 1 dice for that. And are there any other elements you guys want to consider? So do you guys have anything else you want to bring into this?
We are lower tier than them. I know that we modified their tier from, I think it was 2 originally to 1, but we're
Yeah.
a tier 0, so we probably should lose a die for that.
Yep. They were aware of someone kind of like coming in with some kind of force. So I'm going to say minus a die for that, even though you guys did not come in for force. They're expecting some kind of engagement tonight,
Yeah.
some kind of
Right.
fight. All right. You did use magic to figure out who like the head person you need to go for is, so you're not going in completely blind. And you did find another exit. So I'll give you 1 die total for both of those because blink success was a partial success.
Right.
All right. So that's 3 die we have so far.
3
right?
die. Yep. Who wants to roll it? I guess the sergeant can.
Yep. Go for it.
In absence of response.
Let's see, 5.
5. All right, perfect. So that is going to be partial mixed result.
Mhm.
All right, so you're going to be in a risky position for some other things, and I'll bring that up as we're going on here, actually, and the scene we're going on right now. So he asked you 3, what kind of services you're looking for this evening. So what do you guys do?
Caro would lean on the podium and he would say, "It's my understanding that there's possibility here of engaging in rarefied experiences."
My, sir, you have a lot of understanding from how you're speaking, but yes, rarefied experiences we do have, but you have to consent to some basic principalities if you want to go that route tonight, sir.
I'm sure we can come to an understanding.
Yes, of course. Now then, if you're looking for something on the bloody side, the violent side, or the torturous side, should those be your taste, then you are not allowed to horrifically maim or kill or disfigure whoever you choose to go with. All 3 of you can be with one of our providers tonight, if you wish. We will provide you any tools that you wish to use. And if at any point the provider you're with says the word thunder, you are to stop all action immediately. Do you understand?
Of course.
Perfect. Now then, if you people would not mind, please come with me and I will show you tonight's selection of providers, if you would not mind. And he kind of like steps away from the podium and he begins walking up one spiral staircase. Do you guys follow?
How many eyes are on us as he leaves the podium?
I'm gonna say there are 6. Ooh, okay, there are 6 women kind of just lounging around watching, right? Just looking around, including the 1 guard. So it's 7 pairs of eyes you have on you guys right now.
Okay. I was considering picking the coin back up, but I'm just going to walk.
All right. So he leads you
Yeah.
guys upstairs. Does anyone have anything they want to do at all when they're going upstairs or no?
Not right
All
now.
right. Perfect. So as he leads you guys upstairs, he goes into basically the second door on the right-hand side of this majestic-looking hallway, right? As he opens the door, what you see inside are 7 busts, okay? Every bust is shaped in the likeness of a different woman, right? All of them are painted immaculately so. They look very lifelike. He steps to the side, and he begins to name them off one by one. You have Mary Jane, you have Rosemary, you have Opiate. You have basically just name after name after name after name. And then he looks at you all and he says, which one will strike your fancy tonight? Or if you want, we can either go for men or we can go for something a bit less conventional.
Do any of these women look like the woman I saw through the ghost's eyes?
Yes. Actually, no, just through the ghost. I was going to say something else. No, they do not. None of them look like her.
Okay. And she was an older woman, right? She was...
I would say late 20s, early 30s.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, Luca not really understanding, just kind of looking around. He's hoping that Crow recognizes something, not seeing the immediate recognition in his eyes. Luca pipes up and he says, "You mentioned more exotic."
Ah, yes. Now that will cost you a bit more because the exotic is harder to come by, and we have to ensure that we keep certain privacies around as well. However, if you do want something more exotic, name your age bracket and slash or animal species, and we can arrange something for you. Or if you want to, name a mix of genders, and we can assign that as well.
Is it possible to have a spiritual experience?
Ah, yes. You want something to do with a medium or a whisper. We can assign both of those as well. Now, those are the most expensive because those include essentially bringing in dead spirits, which, as you may know, gentlemen, is very dangerous here. But as long as you're willing to go with the rules that we have provided, yes, a more spiritual experience we can indeed provide.
I guess Kara like looks at the other two for a second, then looks back at the man.
Yeah, there's just a slight nod.
Well then, if that is what you want, gentlemen, please, I apologize for wasting your time. Follow me if you would. And he turns and he walks away and he leads you guys out back to the hallway, down the stairs to another door on the ground floor. He opens it up and it leads down even further. It takes you guys down a straight staircase until it is almost pitch black. When he gets to the bottom, you see this large basement. The basement is filled with nothing but multicolored candles. So you have purple, you have green, you have violet, you have blue, you have indigo lights basically everywhere. And when you look around this room, you see bouquets of flowers as well, all sitting on different sized tables covered in white, or what would normally be white cloth, but because of the candlelight, is a bunch of different colors as well. When you look at your shadows, you all see something different. Carol, you look at your shadow, you see actually just a murder of crows underneath your feet. Sergeant, you see two men in an embrace. And Blink, you see nothing other than half of what you actually are. Half of a shadow, one leg, one arm, half a torso, half a head. When you look at this man's shadow, you see something you can't quite understand. You're not sure if there are too many limbs, if it's too tall, if there's wings, if there's tentacles or something else, but there's just something inhuman about it. He turns and he faces you three and he says, "Now, you want a more spiritual experience, gentlemen? Please wait right here while I go and I fetch the mistress herself. But before I do that, we will require the coin you are spending."
Yeah, Luca kind of looks to the others, and there's kind of this smile as he goes to reach into his jacket, and it's this practice motion. The belt that he wears, it's a slip off belt, and it just comes out and lashes out with the buckle. I wish to skirmish.
All right, then. So go ahead. We're going to say that because of the kind of awareness and the risky start, it's going to be risky for great effect because he's also not expecting it.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and ask for a devil's bargain, so I can decide if I want to do that or push.
So here's the devil's bargain. If you don't get a full-on success to take this guy out, are you trying to take him out?
Yeah, I'm trying to put him out quiet.
If you don't take him out quietly with a 6 success, all right, he's going to scream, and it won't be guards that respond, but something else entirely.
I'll take it.
Bet. All right, go ahead.
All right. Help is still available if anybody wants to jump in on this.
For sure. I will use my strange abilities to get the candles to flare up behind the man, so he might turn and like not see until the very, very last second the strike that's coming.
I'll dig it.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, critical. So 2 6s there.
2 6s. Oh, all right. The candles flare, right? And the shadows get darker, deeper. They stretch out around you guys. You're in a world that's almost half fantastic completely, and you're already in a fantastic world at that. And that's when the buckle snakes out, and it catches the light, and it looks like almost like a meteor composed of aurora lights striking this man dead on in the throat. So what does it look like, Luca, as you kill him and you pull the buckle back quietly?
Yeah, the buckle comes in and it just digs into the jugular, and it's with this practiced move that Luca rips it back out, and it just cuts it wider than he could possibly stop. And there's this moment where he reaches up to try and like stop it, and it's just coming out too much. And he attempts to scream, but the cut is so deep that it's already gotten to his larynx, and the sound that comes out is just kind of this very soft gurgle. And he hits the floor, and it's almost like too long. Like he knows that death is coming, and he just stares at Luca as he slumps down into a mess. And the belt buckle or the belt kind of gets shifted back into the coat.
Because it is a critical, the lights flare, and when they stop, all the candles go out at once, which is very important for reasons you don't know yet. And the smell of candle smoke that smells like rosemary and dragon fruit fills the air. You guys are now in perfect darkness down here, with a dead body at your feet. You can kind of feel the blood moving around your boots. What do you guys do next?
Luca's going to get down on the ground since he's given up his knife and see if this man has anything on him.
You frisk his body in the darkness. You find a pouch of coins or maybe a wallet of bills. You're not quite sure, right? It feels hefty and you can tell there's money inside. And you also find this weird thing that in the darkness, you feel it and it feels like a seven-pointed cross.
Okay. Yeah, Luca's just going to tuck those in his jacket for now. Well, we're here, and out of the pocket that he just tucked all this stuff in, he pulls out a spirit bane charm, and he just throws it over his neck.
Perfect. I like it.
Yeah, Blink kind of leans over and he's like, well, only downside is I'm not too much use without a gun, which we unfortunately gave up.
I don't like our chances of going back inside and getting them.
No, but if the mistress is somewhere on this floor, perhaps we could be done with her. It's a smaller gang. Their leader's out. They may collapse or just turn tail and try and regroup.
I would be prepared to see things you don't want to see when we face this woman.
Touching the spirit bane chain, Luca goes, as prepared as I'm gonna get. Gives it a little kiss in his hands and lets it drop like it's a St. Christopher medal.
I will do what I can to keep the spirits and demons from you.
I'll manage as best I can. Try to help how I can.
Before the lights went out, did we see any doors or anything around here?
You did not see any doors. The walls are all perfectly even. You could tell from the basement size, that's pretty much the size of Bordello, just underground.
Okay. Yeah, Luca's gonna kind of start shimmying across the floor to try and find any sort of lighting or candle or anything like that so that we can start to figure ourselves out.
There are candles everywhere, so you find one without problem. Do you light it?
Yeah, we've got nothing here, so
When you light it, it's this violet light that very faintly illuminates the room. And as you do so, when you're kind of moving the candle around, the light catches the dead man's face, and you see it's in a weird expression, right? Almost like he's smiling at you. And then when you look back, right, you move the candle back to check it, he just has that same dead look, right? Like he was never smiling in the first place.
all right, Crow. You visited here before. Where to next?
I visited here, not in my corporeal form, but, and he'll go as if he's like sniffing the air like a dog, and see if he can like sense basically which way this mistress is.
All right, so we're going to do, I think it's a tone, I think it would be for this. So go ahead and do that. Let me know if you would like a devil's bargain as well.
I think I took one last session.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I want one.
All right, so here's a bargain for you. Again, unless you get a 6, right, to perfectly kind of locate where she's at, something else will locate you as you do this check.
I love it. I'm in.
Dope.
4.
4. All right, you close your eyes and you think. You think for a good, solid moment, and you begin to attune to the spirits. What is it like? What's your process for doing this to kind of sense where someone's at?
So usually, Caro takes a long time to go through these sort of rituals, but when it's on the actual job, it's a case of like controlled breathing and the inhalants of various substances. So he'll like take something from an inside pocket and just like put his hand up underneath his mask, and there'll be a quick, and then he'll control his breathing and try and sense a direction.
Perfect. You sense that 3 floors above you in the attic of this place is where your target is. As you sense it, both Blink and Sergeant, you see a hand, a long, childlike hand with twisted purple nails, reach up, grab Crow's wrist, and yank him down. Crow, you fall to the ground, and when you guys move the light, the hand and its owner are nowhere to be seen.
I will leap back up to standing as quickly as I can. We shouldn't linger here.
Agreed.
In the attic.
It's good enough for me. Start heading up the staircase.
Yeah, if there's a back staircase, we can find something like that.
As you guys are heading up the staircase, you get to the top of it, and you hear the door click as if it was locked from the outside. And you also hear a rustling at the bottom of the staircase. Luca, you know this rustling is from where that person, the man you dropped dead a moment ago, was at.
Oh, we don't have time for this. I'm going to try and wreck the door. I'm going to try and like summon my scary ass magic and blow the shit out of it.
I just wanted to hear someone say don't want to wreck something.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and make your wreck roll for me.
Alrighty.
I'm going to help. Like, Luca's going to throw his shoulder into the door. and
Perfect.
This is going to be desperate positioning with standard effect.
Perfect. Yeah. 5.
5. What does it look like as Luca's shoulder smashes the door? You do some crazy voodoo to blow it open.
Yeah. He like reaches out and he like looks towards the hinge. And he like makes this like awful motion with his hand. It looks like his fingers bend in the wrong direction. And as he like crushes, you can see the metal like quickly corrode as if aging a great deal. And it's weak enough then that Luca can smash it open.
All right. The door goes flying off its hinges and is smashed into splinters that go flying across the foyer of the Thunder God's Bordello. Women scream. The guard shouts out of fear and confusion. And then that rustling at the bottom of the staircases gets louder and louder. And you look behind yourself, Blink, and you see that for some reason the candles are all on. Like they're all glowing again, right? And that body is gone. Where do you guys go from here? As the women and the guard are screaming.
Luca tosses the candle down the staircase that he was carrying. And he just yells thunder. My attempt is to command, and I just want to stun the audience so that we can get past them and up the staircase.
We're gonna say, holy wow. Okay, we're gonna say desperate positioning, limited effect.
Okay. Yeah, it's total bullshit. He doesn't think it's gonna work. Like, this is just him attempting something.
I love it.
Awesome. I got a 3.
3. Okay. So you scream out thunder. As you do so, the guard is going to tackle you at the same time, thinking that you're now a threat, blowing off doors and everything. Is there a roll you would make for that, or?
No. How it works is when an enemy attacks, you can tell me essentially like how much harm he does,
okay,
and then I can choose to resist it or I can take it.
All right. We're gonna say it's just going to do 1 harm, but it's going to tackle you back into the basement.
Yeah, I'm gonna resist that. I'm going to resist the effect of being tackled into the basement. I'm okay with the one harm part. And I think the way that Luca's going to resist being tackled into it is just like as soon as the guard hits, Luca's going to take 2 hands and just do the downward smash on him to try and break his momentum. So I'm going to use prowess.
All right, let's do that. I'm going to say standard effect, risky.
There's no effects on this stuff.
I didn't think effective positioning would really matter.
So it's a 4, which means mixed results. You can
Mixed
either give me
results.
what I'm looking for or something
All
like
right.
that.
So he tackles
sorry,
into
no,
you.
I'm sorry. I forgot. Resistance is different. I automatically get what I want, but I pay 6 minus the highest die I rolled in stress.
Okay.
So I'm taking 2 stress, but I
So
don't get
he careens into you, and you slam your hands on the back, onto the top of his back, right, in between his shoulder blades, and he goes flat onto the ground. What are the other 2 of you doing?
Caro is cursing. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm just gonna seeing everything kind of erupt into shit, but seeing that we're back on the main floor. Blink is going to look for that room that he saw the guards take his stuff into, and if it's close enough, he's just gonna try to make a dash for it.
It's close enough, so you can definitely make a dash to it. You get to it, the door is locked. How do you want to get through it?
He's going to see if you need me to make a roll for it, then I will. But he's just going to kind of scan the guard who's now like on the ground in front of Luca, and see if he can see any direct like place where keys would be, and see if he can swipe them while he's trying to get up off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely know he has the keys, but you know that you can see the keys are definitely not on the ground and probably on his body, and he's starting to kind of shoulder himself up right now. So you'd have to find a way to get the key off of him if you want to unlock the door, or you have to find a way to bust the door down or pick the lock or something like that.
Yeah, I'll use one of my load here. Just say that just in case they needed to do a break-in, he brought in burglary gear, and he's gonna try to see if he can snap the lock and get
So
in.
imagine there's like a quick like flashback where we have you like arranging everything in your pack, and you pick up a very specific pair of lockpicks for this, and then we snap back to this scene, and you use those lockpicks and you crack the door open and it swings open. As that happens, Crow, what are you doing?
Cursing, screaming. He's going to kick that guard in the head as he's on the ground so he doesn't get back up.
Right.
I think is a skirmish, right?
Yeah, they'll do a skirmish.
Yeah. 2.
A 2. You kick him and he grabs your foot and he yanks you onto the ground with him, right? So as he does so, you see this happening, Sergeant. What are you doing?
Yeah, the sergeant kind of like nurses at his rib where he got the harm, which I'm calling bruised rib. And he sees Crow go down, and there's just kind of this moment where Lucas shakes his head, and out comes the whip again, and he's just going to start lashing out repeatedly against this guard that's on the ground.
Right.
This will just be a skirmish.
All right, so this will be controlled for great effect.
Okay. That is a 5.
5. As you're basically slaughtering this guy, he's screaming out bloody murder. And the girls, who are still unattended, are all screaming as well. In fact, their screams are loud enough to bring in the 4 guards from outside, who quickly open the doors and rush in, pulling out pistols as they do. You pull back your buckle, and you have the bloody guard underneath you, and you also have 4 guns pointed at you. You have only a few breaths before they start firing. What do? The basement's also still behind you.
Yeah, I assume there's like furniture and stuff around here. Luca's gonna flip over a couch, which I'd like to use Rec to basically create some like cover that we could actually use. And as he like hunkers down, he's like, "I thought I fucking said light or thunder, or lightning, or god damn it, what's the use of these safety words?"
I love it. It's going to be risky with standard effect. What are you doing as this is happening, Blink?
Yeah, so Blink's going to duck into this storeroom and snag up his pair of fine pistols that he has that they had taken.
You find your pistols, you pick them up, and then you see the guards pointing guns at your dude as he's basically flipping over couches and everything to
And he
find
finds a
cover.
gut knife.
Yeah. do you
Yeah,
want to take his knife too?
Which
Yeah,
makes him better at fighting. Just to
he'll-
throw it out there.
Yeah, he'll grab whatever he can, so his pistols, and then he'll kind of like tuck the knife into his belt for the time being. And he's gonna like lean out and see all these guards, and he's just going to kind of lean out into the doorway and fire a shot before like ducking back behind it.
Perfect. So we're gonna say skirmished, controlled effect. Sorry, controlled position for great effect.
So I believe it should be hunt for range rolls, if I'm
Yes.
remembering
Yeah.
correctly. Okay, I was just gonna say that's the. All right, 6. Oh, you're muted.
We see the camera zoom in on the bullet. We see it spinning. We see it enter the back of one of the guards' heads. We see it moving through. And if you've ever seen that Kill Bill short with the female assassin, it's that same scene where you see the bullet going through an asshole's brain, and you see blood cells and whatnot moving around it, and then an explosion of gore, and you see through the hole. And through that hole, you see the other 3 guards who are now covered in blood, and like it gets in their eyes. They got pieces of bone getting in their ears. We have gray matter getting up their nose. It's a shit show, basically, right? And it throws them all for a loop. As this happens, Crow, what are you doing?
I'm going to pull out the biggest gun in my possession, and I'm going to call Satara, my demon friend. I'm going to use Compel to make him appear, and I'm going to give him the command of Terrify in the hopes of him just scaring the piss out of everybody so that they flee and that we have a chance to get upstairs.
All right, we're gonna say risky. That's a very risky move for great effect.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. All right. I'm gonna push. I think I have to. Let's give that
I don't have a logical way to help on this one.
No, I don't think anyone.
You can offer him the blood from the guards you just killed.
If I had like a point attune, I would think of something like that, but I don't have any attune.
That's actually a 6.
Perfect. What the fuck does this look like, Wood?
So it's like a desperate last sort of resort, and so Caro like takes this little glass vial that he has, and he just crushes it in his hand and like cuts deeply into his left wrist, and like lets the blood drop, and he's like chanting in Taikarosi, this strange foreign language, asking Satara to come. He begins asking and then begins demanding and commanding until finally he's like giving nonstop shit to this demon who he has summoned once before, demanding he appears.
So this demon appears, and when it appears, every piece of furniture at the same time is thrown against the walls. And as they hit the walls, the points they hit, they burn away at the wallpaper. And every window on the first floor of this compound shatters at once. And then the teeth, the back of your teeth, right? All of your fuck, what are they called?
Molars.
Thank you. All of your molars begin to vibrate and hurt right in the roots. It's about to get pulled out of your jaws. And then your noses begin to run, right? Mixtures of blood and snot. And the hair on the back of your neck stands up and then it's peeled off your neck as if lightning is running down and removing hairs from your body, right? And then all of you are temporarily blinded. You cannot understand what you're looking at. No one can understand what you're looking at. You hear a voice, and this voice is the negative opposite of sound. It makes your ears pound, right? As if they're rupturing at the same time. Your eyes are hyper dilating to the point where all you see is a mixture of light and blackness at once. And then you blink again, right? And you just see in the center of this room is vibrations. It's like a heat haze is what you see because your mind doesn't understand what you see. But needless to say, every woman goes screaming upstairs, crying out for the mistress, Mary Laveau, and the guards are screaming and falling over themselves to get away from this thing. In fact, it's so effective. I'm going to say that even Luca and Blink need to make some type, or the roll be, Chris, for this.
So It would be a consequence, so
Yeah.
it would effectively be a harm. You could decide how severe it is, 1 through 3,
All right. I'm
or
gonna
4
say
for that matter, if you want it
it's
lethal.
it's a level 1 harm because you just dropped a demon in the middle of this place. But basically, your senses are kind of scrambled out of a mixture of fright and not understanding what you're looking at. So then we have a
So level
demon.
1 harm, dazed.
Yeah, basically. So
Okay.
we have a demon in the middle here. You have scared the shit out of everyone. Luca, it is your turn.
Um, I have a Spirit Bane charm. We have to answer the question of, does that do anything to help me, or is it purely like holy water to a vampire type thing where it doesn't do
I would
much at
say
all?
if this was some like normal ghost, it would be perfect. But the fact that it's a full-on demon in the middle of this place,
Like, I have a Demon Bane charm, which I think might be like,
yes, that's the reason why you're not dazed right now.
yeah.
Okay, in that case, I'm gonna use my armor. And I think what it is it's Luca had like plates inside his jacket, but like when the furniture got moved, the furniture he was hiding behind got ripped apart and it tore open his jacket, and these plates just kind of shuffle out of his jacket. But him trying to kind of fix everything, he held up the collar of this broad jacket just in enough time to keep him from being dazed.
I dig it. That works. All right, and Blink, what are you doing?
Um, imagine Blink immediately just like ducks back behind this doorway into this storeroom, just like, what the fuck is that? And for a moment he like hides, expecting it to kill him. And then kind of realizing it, like just in a daze, attempts to bring himself back out of the room to like look and see that it was Caro. And kind of just like still kind of almost half hiding is going to toss Luca the dagger.
As you toss the dagger, what you're going to see, Blink, is that where the furniture hit the walls and burn away the wallpaper, you see literally crawling out of the exposed wood and alabaster are maggots. Like maggots are slowly starting to kind of just fill this entire place, falling from the ceiling and crawling out of the walls. With that being said, Crow, you have summoned a demon. What the fuck are you gonna do now?
I hadn't thought really that far ahead.
Go upstairs and have your fill.
That's what's yeah. Basically, I'm gonna like begin very slowly moving towards. I am amazingly not supernaturally frightened of this thing because I have some level of control over it. I know its name is what I think it is, and so I'm able to compel it to do things. I'm going to take 2 steps forward, and I'm going to like look up at the top at the roof, and I'm going to like try to speak, but I can't. There's just blood pouring from my mouth when I try and do so. But I'm going to like put the impression of an image in this demon's area of this woman, and like that is the payment. This powerful witch who has many spirits in her grasp. That's the payment for the appearance.
I love it. So you look up, right? And then you see the heat haze fades away, and whatever is covering the ceiling just begins to peel away, and it's rotting, and maggots start falling on top of you. As it basically it goes through each level, right, to the very top to the attic to find this woman. Then you wait a minute, you count your breaths, you count 3 breaths, and then you just hear these unholy sounds, these loud smashings, as if an earthquake is happening on top of this bordello. You hear screaming everywhere as doors fly open, and women and the patrons who are using the women and the other providers here begin running out down the stairs, afraid for their lives. Right, everyone's basically just fleeing the fuck out of the bordello right now as you clear it completely of people. About 30 seconds later, it's completely empty, but you still hear those crazy sounds going on upstairs. What do you guys do?
Luca's gonna push to go upstairs. Like he's not super excited about it, but he's gonna start moving that direction. because that's probably where the safe is. He's going to keep some distance, and once the screaming all stops up there, that's when he'll go up there, but he's going to at least make it to like the second floor.
So you guys get to the second floor. Go ahead, Crow.
Yeah, I think Caro is just like trying to maintain the demon in this realm, and is probably just like bleeding from eyes and ears, and just like standing there, trying to keep it here long enough to do its job.
So you stay on the first floor. Blink, are you gonna go with Sergeant?
Yeah, I imagine Blink has a look on his face similar to the face that most of these screaming and running patrons have. But he's going to remember why they're here. And at the very least, if Sarge is going to go up towards this thing, he's going to follow just in case. Not actually sure of what he could possibly do, but he'll go anyways.
All right, so as two of you go upstairs and you begin listening to the sounds, Crow, as you're kind of standing there bleeding profusely, you hear the sound of a cat's meow behind you. And you turn and you see coming out from the open basement are these hairless, clawless, eye-stitch shut, weird things, right? And as these twisted cat spirits come out of the basement, you see they're crawling along the walls, right? They're coming up across the ceiling and they're coming across the floor, and they're all heading towards you. What do you do, Crow?
There are like tears streaming down his face, and he's like too absorbed in trying to keep Satara here to do anything about this. He's gonna like have to release his control and maybe like send Satara back to do something about this immediately dangerous situation.
So you sever that bond. As you sever it, the sounds upstairs stop instantly. The walls stop shaking. Your molars, once again, feel normal. And Sergeant and Blink, I think that's when you go up to the attic to the third floor.
Hey, real quick, I'd like to do a flashback actually before we lock in what Lloyd did there.
All right.
I imagine that there was probably like a scene back at the base where Luca and Caro were kind of discussing things, because Luca doesn't know enough about the occult. Like, he knows that it's dangerous and that there are spirit wardens for a reason. But Luca kind of reassures Crow that if it comes down to it and you start slinging powers, know that I have your back. It's just a real brief conversation. Is there going to be any stress cost for that kind of conversation?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Does that change your action, Lloyd? Because you've been with Luca far enough to know that if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it, kind of thing.
Yep, I think it would. In that case, he would keep Satara there and call out for help.
In that case, I activate not to be trifled with. Luca just sloughs off the jacket, and there's like this it's like a Henley style t-shirt underneath with like a cravat that's half hanging out, and he pulls out the knife from the case that it's in, and he just tosses the case to the ground as he flips the knife over, and he just dives headfirst into the hordes of cat demons. I can fight at a superhuman level and engage with gangs now.
Oh, look, that's perfect. So go ahead and make, I guess, your skirmish or wreck.
Yeah, it's gonna be skirmish. I intend to kill.
Oh, okay, dope.
Yes.
All right, so that is a 5, and I have increased effect and less effect because of 5.
All right. So you don't really kill these things, you rebuke them, you deny them, right? And it just so happens you can deny something supernatural by killing it. So it's a closed loop that works on itself. So as you kind of fall into these twisted cat things, destroying them with your knife, when you tear into them, they just become candles, right? So the candles kind of roll away splitting or torn to pieces, the wicks destroyed, and all that stuff. And the smell of smoke that smells like rosemary and dragon fruit, fills the room you're in. As it does so, the sounds above don't stop, but they're starting to get quieter now. Blink, what are you doing?
Yeah, Blink seeing Sarge turn back and dive into this horde is going to be torn for a second, kind of looking up the stairs and then back. And then just kind of like shakes his head, and he's going to continue up the stairs to at least try to scout it out.
Got you. So you're going up to the third floor?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to say because you got a 5 as partial success, Chris, that Luca is going to be spending most of this scene kind of basically protecting Crow right now.
Yeah, I figure that part of my cost is that I can't go anywhere. I'm fully
Yeah.
engaged.
All right. So Blink, you move upstairs, right? There's a staircase at the very end of this hallway, and you get to the top of it, and there's a door. And you get to that door, the paint has been completely stripped off, and it's just covered in maggots. And the doorknob itself is this twisted iron hunk of metal that's cold to the touch. Do you open the door?
I imagine his first instinct seeing it in that state would not just be to like reach and turn the handle, but he's gonna give it like a SWAT team style kick at the handle and the lock, not even wanting to touch it with his hand.
All right. So you kick open the door, and what you see inside is just, it's too mundane yet too incredible to behold. You see a woman. She's standing in the middle of the room. She is beautiful with porcelain skin and dark black hair and curls around her head. She is wearing a gown. She is bleeding from her nose and her mouth, and her left arm has been torn from her body and thrown all the way across this very beautiful, nicely painted room. You see these heat waves slowly dispersing around her, and then you see the arm crawling back over to where she is, and then blood connecting the stump to the flesh, and then reconnecting the arm with a series of horrific craps and a sound of flesh being sewn together. She then falls to her knees, throws up a mixture of maggots and butterflies, and then looks up to you, exhausted and confused.
With just a horror on his face, complete confusion. Like he has no idea what to make. His first instinct is just going to be to fall back on his training. The other pistol just comes up, and he just shoots straight for the head.
All right, make a
He's not trying to
hunting
mess with
roll.
any of this.
Is there a form of disadvantage in this game, Chris, to remind my memory? You're muted.
You could reduce effect.
All right, so it's going to be a limited effect. We're going to go for this then.
All right. How would you feel about a devil's bargain, not for an extra die, but to make it standard
A
instead?
standard effect? Okay, so here's what the devil's bargain is. If you don't roll a 6 on this, something is going to strike you back as you're shooting. And you will take a good amount more than 2 stress. All right, go ahead. Chris.
Oh, fuck. 2.
2. All right. You are relying on your training. You lift the gun, but your hand is shaking. Training doesn't always account for everything. You see the bullet hit the ground right in front of her. Her eyes simultaneously turn pure black, and those heat waves go flying straight towards you as she hurtles Crow's demon at you, right? So go ahead and make a resistance for me if you would like to resist. If you don't, you're going to take a level 2 harm, since I believe that 3 would just probably kill you.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and resist that. Can
Alright.
someone remind me real quick what how many dice you roll for resist? Or did you pick a skill or?
I'll leave Chris for that because he's better at the mechanics.
So the resistance, you pick which one you want to use: insight, prowess, or resolve, and you get as many dice as you have in the first column. So, like for prowess, I have 1 in prowl, 3 in skirmish, 1 in rec, so I have 3 in my prowess. But my resolve, I only have 1 point in command, so I only get 1 die when I do a resolve check.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna go with insight. Imagine like you know what? Even though I'm worse at it, I'm gonna use prowess just because I don't think he would have the time or mental capacity to like think about resisting. He's just gonna try to just jump and hope. So I'll just roll the 1 die. Ooh, and that's a 6. Which
Perfect.
means do I take no stress?
Yeah, you take no stress. You resist it. Go
6
ahead,
is
Chris.
0. Yeah,
0.
6 is 0 stress. If you get a critical, you get to subtract the stress.
This heat rushes over you. The camera is focused on your body and profile, and it sees your skin open up like a flower, and then the flesh, and then it sees the bones kind of invert and turn to face the other way. And you are now facing the other way as your flesh recovers your face, and then the skin recovers your body. But you take no stress from this, as you see heat waves at the bottom of the stairway beneath you, and you just see maggots rising up from where they're at. Before we continue with this, Crow, you feel your connection with the demon waning, as if the demon's being rebuked upstairs. What do you do?
I want to command it to get the fuck back up there and get the job done. I'm willing to suffer greatly to achieve that. I'll offer it a part of myself if it can finish this woman upstairs.
So I imagine you're pushing yourself then. So that's
Yeah.
the 2 stress for the extra dice. It's going to be a limited effect at desperate positioning.
Perfect. That's what I want. 6.
Perfect. The heat rushes back over you. Blink. It's very unpleasant when this happens to have your body torn apart and then rebuilt facing the other way. But now you're looking at Mary Laveau herself as this heat rushes back over her, and she begins spitting up blood as the heat basically is pounding at her, and you just see the skin being torn off. Her arm is torn off a second time, and she's falling down to the ground struggling. We then move the camera back down to where you are, Luca. So describe what this Rage Essence is doing, and tell me what you're doing this round.
Yeah, Luca, in the fight, he pulls out a bottle, and it's like stage glass is the best way to describe it. It's that sugar glass that's been tempered so that a stage performer could knock it out very easily. But it's a vial that has this thick kind of cherry syrupy mix inside it. And he just throws it in his mouth and starts chewing on this terrible like sugar glass. There's shards of it everywhere. It is cutting his gums because it's still pretty sharp. But he starts taking this Rage Essence, and you can see that his eyes, his pupils narrow to be almost invisible because they've gotten so small, and he becomes hyper focused. He begins striking a little bit more accurately. His knife jabs are a little bit deeper, and as his hand is now free, he brings out the whip, and this is pretty much how he's engaging as a gang. It's knife in one hand, whip in the other, just murdering as many demon cats as possible.
That's badass.
So the Rage Essence vial does do 2 consequences for me, and I'd like to resist one of them. One of them is can't tell friend from foe, and the other is can't stop until they're all broken. I will take can't stop till they're all broken, but I would like to distinguish friend and foe.
All right, go ahead.
All right, cool. That is a 6, which is great because I really don't need more stress.
Perfect. So you're obliterating everything downstairs in terms of these meowing, hairless, eyes-shut cat demons. The camera moves back upstairs. What you
I
see?
do need a skirmish roll, by the way.
Skirmish. Go ahead.
What is my my position?
Position's
still risky.
Yeah, still. Actually, I'm gonna say you're controlled at this point. You're in a pretty damn good position.
Okay. And
for great effect.
Is great effect before my Rage Essence, because we changed that once I know what the base is.
I'll say it's going to be after the Rage Essence. So it would have been standard beforehand.
Okay, so it's standard. Rage Essence brings it to great. Mm-hmm. My fine knife actually brings it up to extreme. Mm-hmm. But I have limited effect from my injury, so I'm back to great.
All right.
Sweet. I got a 5.
Dope. Basically, you can't tell what's cat demon and what's broken candle around you because you're killing them so much, right? But because it is a 5, you are slowly moving it down the basement stairs themselves to kill these things more, mostly because you also won't stop until they're all broken.
Yeah, like Luca purposely puts himself at the top of the stairs, so now he's engaging in the bottleneck.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. All right, camera quickly flips upwards. Here's what you see, Blink. She's cursing, she's screaming. She rolls Mary out of the heat and her arm reattaches. She grabs a table and she runs at a window and she tackles the window with the table and she goes flying out. Now, if you want, you can try and stop this. Or you can let her jump from the 3rd floor window as the heat follows her.
I've just been like torn down to molecules and reassembled by a crazy demon monster. I think chasing this person is the last of my concerns.
All right.
I'm just gonna say that Blink is just gonna run the fuck down the stairs at this point. Like, there's just no way. Like, he's literally been disintegrated and rebuilt. He's not in the right state of mind to like, oh, she's running, I should chase her.
So she, the camera follows her, and she has a table because as she hits the ground, the table breaks, and she lands on the broken table, partially broken herself. However, this is very important because, Caro, you can sense your demon about to be loosed on the outside streets. By terms of common sense, this is a horrible idea, but common sense doesn't always apply to you. So I ask you, Caro, do you have your demon follow her into the outside world?
I really want her dead, but I don't think Caro is that insane. So I think at this stage, when it's out of the building and like potentially just a huge deal for everybody, and it would give them the wrong kind of scary rep, he's going to like command it in Taikarosi and basically send it home back to where the fuck it came from.
It's just a weight taken off of your shoulders, out of your stomach, even out of your bowels, right? You just feel completely empty on the inside, as if you've been hollowed out, as if you're nothing but skin and all the flesh, bone, and organs are gone. But that's better than the hellish, weird pain. That wasn't only pain, but something else too that you're experiencing while controlling the demon. When you get downstairs, Blink, you can see through the window that the crowds are gone. The women have fled, the patrons have fled, the guards have fled, and Mary has fled as well. The Thunder God's Bordello has been completely cleared out of everybody inside of it, which gives you guys free reign on the building right now to do what you want to. So in the aftermath, the cat's turning the rest of them into candles, and then the lights all going out downstairs. This is just an empty basement. What do you guys do?
I think it takes a little while before Luca comes up. Like, even after they're all candles, like, he continues to smash up the candles some more for a while before the rage essence finally dies. And as he comes out of it, it's like taking an adrenaline shot. He's tired, he's sweaty, he looks all clammy, and he kind of like schlups his way up the stairs, gets over to his coat, picks it up, like gives it a little shake, and one more armor plate falls out of it, and then he throws it back over his shoulders. I think someone said something about a safe. And he begins moving towards the staircase.
Caro like tries to laugh, but from behind the mask, just like 3 maggots fall out onto the ground. And he just looks down at them and then looks up and then falls down onto his knees and passes out.
Yeah, I imagine as Blink gets to the bottom of the stairs, he looks like he's exerted as much physical effort as Luca has. Like, he's also like sweaty and exhausted and clammy and like faint. Just because of what just happened and what he just saw and experienced.
All right, perfect. So what happens then is this: as you sit kind of clammy on the stairs, Blink, and Crow lies on the ground in a mixture of blood, bile, and maggots. You get to the top room, back to the attic, Sergeant, and you see butterflies everywhere. One of them lands on your jacket and kind of sticks with you as you're kind of walking around, right? And what you basically find is the safe. You're able to pry it open because there's nothing going to stop you from prying it open with force if needed. You people are basically made temporarily a lot richer. You find a lot of different kind of spiritual things here for rituals and whatnot. And you also basically have stolen this building for yourself, even if temporary, and so you have to fight for it again. So if there's any closing narration you guys want to do, and kind of like the aftermath of this, we can go ahead and do that.
Did you want to touch on XP or any of that stuff?
No, I'm not going to handle that because it's just a one shot, unless we decide to make this a campaign later on, in which case we just do that off the books after this.
No, it's fine. I know that that Lloyd was originally interested because he was interested in the mechanics, and that's kind of one of the driving things.
We can talk about it after.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. I guess Caro would like for days and weeks afterwards be like watching every shadow and every moment of his waking and sleeping would be filled with like images of Satara and what he had done. Like he knows that relationship was vaguely positive, but now it is one that terrifies him constantly.
There's a scene where Luca's got Sawtooth, or Peter, as Luca refers to him, over at Dundred's and Son, getting a suit fitted for him. Luca's still bruised up, kind of nursing his cracked rib, and Peter does not look happy, but Luca's ecstatic that he's finally getting him in a nice suit. And it just kind of reminds you of the conversation that happened before, that Luca is not a good boyfriend.
I love it.
He's a lifetime special, let's be honest.
Blink, you have anything for closing narration?
I imagine Blink has a similar but different enough next couple weeks of experience to Caro, where like anytime he sees like someone like say something that even sounds like vaguely like chantish or like any sort of spirit feel at all, he like starts to like tense up and like feel that like anxious energy of like, oh god, I'm about to get like deassembled and rebuilt again. What's happening? And just like the equivalent of like what it would be like to be a civilian to like go through war is like he's going through like the spirit version of that as like a thug.
I love it. I love it. So do you guys ever reopen the Bordello as a Bordello, or do you rebrand it into something else for your gang?
I guess Kara would question who would return to that place, if any of the girls would ever return there, knowing what happened, if any of the people who work there would ever return. Like, it's questionable how much money you'd have to offer people to come back to that place after like the haunting that happened.
There's also the possibility, and you picked off the strips as well, that a lot of these women are just desperate. You just need someone to protect them as they apply their trade, right? And so that's also an angle you could work if you want to reopen the Bordello, or you can just make it an entire different type of place entirely.
So there is one option. Looking out from the lair, if we were to continue this as a campaign, we would typically pick one that's connected to the lair. One is terrorize citizens. I think instead of turf, that might be a good option for the gang. Basically, you get +2 coin for battle or extortion afterward. But essentially, we could set this up to be a spooky ass house that just continues to put the reputation out there that we're badass, scary dudes.
Yeah.
It doesn't count as turf, so it wouldn't make us level up faster in the case of like what is and what isn't considered turf. But in the long run, the +2 coin for battle and extortion is pretty good.
It makes a lot of sense as well. Just like that we have this like weird connection with whatever the hell is beyond this realm.
I don't think it's going to be a cat house anytime soon. I think it's probably either going to be terrorized citizens or just plain turf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea that we don't even like use it or go there. It's just a reminder of this.
Like we just purposely leave it abandoned and like ramshackled.
Yeah, exactly. Just because we know that people will be able to look at that and be like, oh, yep, we don't want to mess with them. That's what they did to that place.
I love it. And so as the Thunder Gods Bordello becomes a household name for terror, horror, pain, suffering, demons, and having your skin peeled off and then replaced again with you facing the opposite direction, this one shot comes to an end, even though it got split in the middle because of internet issues. But thank you for the viewers that we did have. Thank you guys for playing, and I'll catch you guys next time, so peace out.